Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cat's Cauldron once again, where you have a voice and we stir it up. Today is Wednesday, Paranormal, Curses, and the Unknown or Unexplained. So today we're going to talk, I'm finally going to get to that portion of Oak Island. What is the history of Oak Island? When Michigan brothers Rick and Marty Lagina bought a 50% stake in the company that owns the famed Oak Island in 2006, they became the latest in a long line of treasure hunters who have spent more than 220 years trying to unearth untold riches suspected of being hidden in its confines. There's a show about Oak Island, so they, show you their progress every so often. Where is Oak Island located? Located on the south shore of the Atlantic coast of Nova Scotia, Canada. Oak Island is one of the 300-plus islands that make up Mahone Bay. Many believe a massive treasure is buried in the 140-acre forest-covered area due to the legends and the stories that have emerged about the island since the late 18th century. And here's some theories. Excuse me, watch my hand. Here's some theories about the island. Theories abound as to who may have stashed a bounty there. From infamous pirates Captain Kidd and Edward Blackbeard, teach to secret societies like the Freemasons and the Knights Templar, to philosopher and scientific thinker Francis Bacon, burying original Shakespeare manuscripts. But as yet, no hunter has struck it rich. Oak Island has long exuded mystery. From its early discovery, it was the only land in the area covered in red oak trees. Because of a black ant infestation, largely destroyed the oaks in the 1800s, the island is now covered mostly by spruce trees and shrubs. During an early dig expedition, a stone discovered 90 feet deep bore a mysterious inscription that one decoder interpreted to read, 10 feet below, 2 million lies buried. Island lore includes tales of haunting and eerie lights and a widespread prediction that no treasure will be found until 7 treasure seekers have died trying to find it. The current toll stands at 6. The first survey of the island, which is about 1 mile long by less than a half a mile wide, took place in 1762 and 1765, when it was divvied up into 32 4-acre lots. And while a 1776 map by British cartographer J.F.W. Desbarres called it Gloucester Isle, the name Oak Island had been used on land transfer deeds even before that time. According to Darcy O'Connor, author of The Secret Treasure of Oak Island, the amazing true story of a centuries-old treasure hunt. So it gives you a really good history of this particular island. The earliest owners of Oak Island. Most reports credit discovery of the island's money pit, the focal point of the treasure island, as having occurred in 1795, when teenager Daniel McGinnis and 2 friends rode to the island for a little exploration and came across a large depression in the ground. McGinnis thought this unusual-looking area signaled a pirate treasure hiding place in Mahone Bay. Mahone Bay, after all, had been a notorious pirate haven. During the 17th and early 18th centuries, this is where they kind of stopped off, had their breaks, hid their treasures, so the legends say. According to O'Connor, the teens uncovered a shaft, and as they continued to dig, came across oak logs, flagstones, and wooden platforms placed at 10-foot intervals. They had launched what could become the world's largest and most expensive treasure hunt, O'Connor writes. The three eventually purchased land on Oak Island, as did Samuel Ball, a former enslaved person, writes Randall Sullivan in The Curse of Oak Island, the story of the world's largest treasure hunt. Ball came to own 9 lots, making him for a time the island's biggest landowner. For more than a century and a half, there have been accusations that the young men who discovered the money pit, along with Samuel Ball, did in fact find a treasure there, Sullivan writes, which explained their apparently sudden prosperity in the early 19th century. Could be. Challenges of exploring the island. In the following years, according to Dan Conklin, author of Pirates of the Atlantic, robbery, murder, and mayhem off the Canadian East Coast. Treasure hunters went from using shovels and picks in the 18th century to steam pumps and drill bits in the 19th century to open pit mining and bulldozers in the 20th century to the high-tech tools employed today. But despite the advances in technology, flooding and cave-ins have caused hunter after hunter to give up the quest. The persistent flooding and odd bits of wood and clay have convinced treasure hunters and writers that the island hides an elaborate engineering work of secret flood tunnels, multi-layer platforms, and hidden caverns. Conlin writes, adding that much of the island is made of a type of limestone that can cause sinkholes that fill with clay, silt, and logs during storms. But that hasn't stopped a number of attempts at finding treasure there. According to Gordon Fader and Joy A. Steele, authors of The Oak Island Mystery Solved, several companies participated in digs of the money pit and its surrounding areas starting in the early 1800s, including the Old Gold Salvage and Wrecking Company, which began digging in 1909. A famous U.S. president among treasure seekers. Who could that be? That effort would spark the interest of a young Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who bought stock in the company years before becoming the 32nd President of the United States. He made several short visits to Oak Island during Old Gold's time there. In 1926, a story by Catherine Mackenzie in the New York Times noted 6 known organized attempts in 131 years and marveled at the tunnels made by unknown diggers that treasure hunters later unearthed. Whoever they were, they had men enough to dig a hole 100 feet deep and 12 feet across. No light undertaking in the flint-like clay of Oak Island, Mackenzie wrote. Still more amazing, they had the skill to plan and build an elaborate system of drains connecting the pit with tidewater. Anybody knows anything about tidewater and the ebbs and flows, you know how dangerous that can be, which have defeated the efforts of engineers and flooded out company after company of determined treasure hunters. So what's happening at Oak Island now? Dan Blankenship and David Tobias bought the land in the 1960s, later partnering with the Laguna brothers. As chronicled on the History Channel series, the History Channel series, The Curse of Oak Island, discoveries have included man-made structures that predate the money pit, evidence that of wooden casks, a gemstone brooch dating to the 16th century, a Spanish coin from the 1950s, and a 14th century lead cross, among others. So, just a quick thought. I wonder if the rumors and legends are true about it being haunted. This next portion talks about that. Oak Island's spooky ghost story. On History's The Curse of Oak Island, viewers follow a group of treasure hunters led by brothers Rick and Marty Lagina as they search the island for artifacts and treasure. Many in the group are family, and some have been searching on the island for years. The hunt for the treasure on the Nova Scotian island dates all the way back to 1795, when a teenager named Daniel McGinnis and his friends supposedly discovered a man-made shaft that looked to be dug deep into the ground. The 140-acre island had long been rumored to contain pirate treasure, which may have fueled curiosity about what could be in the pit. However, while attempting to excavate the pit, several years later, it allegedly flooded, causing McGinnis and his comrades to give up the search. Since then, there have been many others who have come to the island to try and discover who built the pit and why. No cache of pirate booty has been found, but the persistent curiosity and spooky stories related to the island keep people coming back. There are even a few ghost stories that might have you wondering whether Oak Island could be haunted, or worse, cursed. One of the strongest pieces of evidence that points to a haunting on Oak Island comes from a letter by Florence Eisenhower to M.R. Mel Chappell in 1955 via the Oak Island treasure. Eisenhower's grandfather, Anthony Graves, had lived on Oak Island for decades, and Eisenhower tells Chappell about visiting a man years ago who had known her uncle, Will Graves. The old man said that when her uncle, Will, had been dying of consumption, he had told him, I am a dying man, and I would not lie about it. And I was out in my boat one evening, lobster spearing on the north side of the island, when I saw the figure of a man. He went on to describe the man as having long white whiskers, and claimed that the man called to him and said, come here and I will give you all the gold you can carry. Apparently, her uncle was frightened by the encounter and rode away from the figure. And that's not the only story of a haunting on Oak Island. Probably most interesting spooky tale